In this week's video, we're talking about water holes, the benefits they can provide wildlife, and the value they can add to your land ownership journey.
Mossy Oak Properties. We're outdoorsmen. Find their favorite place.
One thing that you can do to your piece of property and have consistent action, from the little things all the way up to the big things, and I'm talking about wildlife species, is to put a water hole / vernal pool, on your piece of property. It is consistent action, and it adds so much to your piece of property. The common theme to a lot of our videos is, producing life, diversifying and so on. But this right here covers all of it. It covers all of it.
Yeah, this little water hole, it creates so much life, exactly like you said, and it is far and away not even close. This is my favorite part of our entire piece of property for that reason. There's so much life at this water hole. As we've been setting up the camera and getting ready to do this video, there's been a little green frog like poking his head up and out. There he is. There he is right there. I think the reason why that I enjoy this place so much is because of all the wildlife that benefit from it, that I can observe as a result of it, that I can hunt come that part of the year. But I've said it a handful of times, especially with whitetail deer, but all wildlife in general, I care more about wildlife than I care about hunting them. And this gives me a great opportunity to observe wildlife with a trail camera, or to set up a blind and shoot photos and video, to enjoy wildlife like that little green frog who's becoming our little buddy for this video, to learn from wildlife. I mean, there was a trail camera video I got last spring, and I've gotten some this spring as well, of turkey hens out in the water, and they're kind of like kicking up, the soil underneath. And it's like, are they disturbing, are they kicking up tadpoles, are they bugging? Like, I've never seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that type of behavior before because of this water hole and that trail camera. I learned something new about that. And yeah, all wildlife species, everything Virginia has to offer has found its way to this little water hole. Deer, obviously, all kinds of songbirds. One of my favorite video clips is of a decent sized black bear. Last summer, it was super hot, mid to late July. Like, he comes right where we're standing and just completely submerges himself in the water for a couple minutes.
Takes a bath. Big
relief. My mom said, as she was watching it, like, isn't it a great feeling to know that you provided like relief for that animal, as a result of, I wish I could say this was hard work, but it was actually created by accident, but still.
And that's the thing, these things, they are not complicated.
Yeah.
You can use all sorts of equipment, and don't let your limitations of that equipment limit you from providing this, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, whatever you have. You guys created this. This was a little indentation, and you used your back blade, that you you do your driveway with.
Yeah, we got a little 25 horsepower tractor, and this water hole, like I said, was created by accident. When we had a logger come in here, he cleared out this area with the dozer, and luckily we got a lot of rain the night after he cleared it, and then a bunch of water pooled up right here. And asked you, I was like, do you think this would be a good spot for a water hole? You're like, heck yeah. And then that afternoon, my dad and I came up here, and again, this old 35-year-old 25 horsepower Ford tractor with a back blade that we used to push snow, we dug it out a little further, made it a little bigger, and the result from that just little bit of work is all of this life.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you have a skid steer, you have a mini track, if you're having a dozer, which we created one with a dozer, with my fine excavating skills. But anyway, so it's endless what you can do. And to do these multiple all over your property, I mean, you can even do some homework. You can rent these things for 8 hours for practically nothing. It's actually more expensive to have it delivered as to utilize it. They are so valuable. And like the video that Cody was talking about, you said all Virginia species almost, and the behavior that you learn from the turkeys, the hens half strutting with that hawk, I believe it was. The water hole created that environment so you can see how wildlife behaves.
Absolutely.
But the wildlife that uses this alone, from Jefferson salamanders, frogs.
Yeah.
You know,
There's wood. I have some, again, that trail camera video of doe that walks in front that triggers it, and in the background you can see 17 little sets of eyes, and the frogs are just singing their little hearts out. The sound's almost deafening, and all as a result of this. And this is its own ecosystem.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about, like, our property is 190 acres, and we got clear cuts, food plots, this, that, and the other. But this, for the species that live here, like, this is their home.
Yeah.
That frog, like, this is his, I mean, you know, well, I'm sure he ventures out. Sometimes he goes for a walkabout, but you know what I mean? This little water hole is its own ecosystem.
Yeah. And what's neat, to piggyback on that, there's an ecosystem on top of ecosystem, and on top of that we don't even comprehend, nor we have the knowledge to understand. There's a reason why salamanders are using this.
Yeah.
And there's reasons X, Y, and Z that they're eating, laying eggs here.
Right.
Frogs. So there's another type of environment why it's here.
Yeah.
You know, the turkey's scratching in the water. There's a reason why they did that, for that species that they can bug on, or maybe they wanted to wash their feet. I don't know. But anyway, but the bear, you know, it's like a million reasons why these things are so valuable, very easy to do. And just the inventorying wildlife. I mean, we could go on and on and on how valuable these things are.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for this water hole, this part of the property, for the wildlife reasons that we just touched on. I mean, it's a great hunting great hunting setup during the fall for deer, for sure. I love to hunt here because of the water and its attraction, but I observe so many songbirds, and just watching deer drink from the water hole is so cool. But even wildlife aside, water holes are a great tool to introduce kids to the outdoors, to get them involved and teach them about nature and get them interested in wildlife. My nephew just turned 3 years old. Every time we come up here, like, as soon as he gets off the side-by-side, this area's, there's a lot, it's very rocky. Like, he picks up as many rocks as he can carry, and he just runs up here and just starts chucking them into the water hole. And you see this smile on his face it's contagious, for one, and you just appreciate it, because this water hole is a vehicle for me to kind of, and whether he becomes interested and passionate about conservation, wildlife, remains to be seen, but this water hole is a great vehicle, a great stepping stone to introduce him to the outdoors.
Absolutely.
I remember he and I were looking for, back during the spring, he and I were looking for tadpoles, and I was pointing out tadpoles, and I was explaining to him why maybe it's not a good idea to always throw rocks at tadpoles, because this is where they live. You know, this is their home. But so many teachable moments, and a smile that you can't replace.
And that, what you just said there, is so important. I hope everybody listened to what Cody was saying, because kids today, you know, we want them to hunt. We want them to love the species that they're hunting and get appreciation, like we do, for the outdoors, you know, and conservation. But we have to start changing the mentality. We preach about it on a podcast and social media, that maybe we need to start directing ourselves to just teaching.
Yeah.
Just teach. If they hunt, absolutely slam dunk. But teaching, I mean, doing what you did, letting them throw rocks, pointing out tadpoles and stuff like that. I mean, all that is such, like you said, a vehicle to even more, hopefully, if we do it correctly. So that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, there's exit. I'm so thankful for this little spot. I enjoy it so much, from hunting to just overall wildlife enjoyment and observation. Watching my nephew go crazy throwing rocks at it. I mean, and the result, or the reasons why, are because of it's so much life. It's a life creator.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that replace this out there in the industry, if you will. Mm-hmm. You know, tanks and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with putting a tank in and filling it with water, you know, to have a hunting situation, and, you know, obviously it's the value of wildlife utilizing it. Sure. But it's such a limiting thing for all wildlife, when you could do this and provide the same thing, the same hunting aspect of it, the same, you know, utilization, but it stops.
Yeah.
It stops. It's
good, not great.
No, it's good, but not great. And so
this to me is great, and the good thing about this is I don't have to fill it up.
You don't have to fill it up, and it doesn't have to be filled all the time.
Yeah.
It's going to be seasonal, and don't panic. But what's real quick is that when you do notice that there might be leaking problems, it's such an easy fix. You go get some bentonite, and that's what happened here. Kind of maybe a slow leak from all the rock chucking.
Yeah, I'm blaming it on my
Hey, I'm just saying.
No, that's exactly it. It kind of had a slow leak last summer, fall. It wasn't holding water like it had in its first year. And I mean, a 50-pound bag of bentonite, which actually may have been a little bit too heavy for this small of an area, but we had what we had, and I mean, yeah,
it's filled and it ain't going anywhere. So, but good stuff.
Absolutely. That little frog right there, he's become our little buddy.
He learned something today.
You learned something today.
Mossy Oak Properties. We're outdoorsmen. Find their favorite